Hello everyone, this is Overboy, and I'm going to be reviewing the 2005 direct-to-video cash grab Disney movie, Kronk's New Groove. Um, the movie's a sequel to 2000's The Emperor's New Groove, which was a really good movie. It's one of my personal favorite Disney movies that I felt was really underrated. This one's not so good. This time, instead of following Emperor Cusco, this one is about Kronk, who was Yzma's henchman in the first one. Yzma was the villain, and this time it follows him. He's had he's gone from being the evil henchman to being the good character that he was never really bad anyway. In the movie, he's working at the restaurant that we saw in the first movie, and he's also the leader of the junior chipmunk troop, which is like kind of like a Boy Scout thing, except it has boys and girls in it. But he finds out his father's going to be coming to visit him, and he's always wanted to be able to please his father, because and his father was wanting him to live in a big house on a hill and have a family and everything. He's trying to figure out how he's gonna do it, please his father, and he tells the waitress at the restaurant the stories of how he once had a house that Yzma had tricked him into helping her sell fake potions to make the elderly people think that they could be young again, and they get addicted to the potion and sell him let him buy the house. And when Kronk realizes what he was doing was wrong, he gives the house back to the elderly characters. And then the second half talks about how he had a girlfriend, and him with the Junior Chipmunk Explorers competing with the girl that he ends up dating. She has a troop of wilderness explorers, and they're competing with one another to win the wilderness thing. But at first they like each other at first sight, and after the kids knock the other kids out of competition, they start competing really heavily, and later that night they end up making up and kind of start dating and everything. And after they and then at the end of it, one of the boys on Kronk's team cheats and makes it where they win the final wilderness thing for the year, and it causes Kronk and the lady, her name's Miss Birdwell, to break up. And then Kronk goes back to his normal life working in the kitchen. And it goes back to where the movie began. Throughout the movie, Emperor Cusco, once again voiced by David Spade, who gets really little screen time in this movie, he pops up every once in a while to break the fourth wall like he did in the first movie and everything, but his jokes aren't funny like they were in the first movie. He's kind of just there to be there, I guess, probably to get people interested, but from the trailers and stuff, that was kind of disappointing. Anyway, the last few minutes of the movie, Kronk gets Pacha from the first movie, who's voiced by John Goodman, and his family to uh, help him pretend like they're a family. And after his dad shows up, all of his friends, the elderly people, um, Rudy, who's voiced by the late John Fielder, um, tries to pretend to be his wife also, and John Goodman was his character Pacha was originally going to pretend to be his wife, but uh, instead Kronk was having Pacha's wife pretend to be his wife, and so Pacha was pretending to be her mom, and before the end of it, a whole bunch of characters, including Emperor Cusco and other characters from earlier in the movie, show up pretending to be different family members and stuff, uh, and while he's not watching the stuff in the kitchen, the entire restaurant explodes with cheese, and Kronk finally tells his dad the truth and everything, and his dad accepts it and gives him the thumbs up that he had always wanted. And in the end, Miss Birdwell, Tipo, who's Pacha's son, is the one that cheated on in the games, goes and gets Miss Birdwell, and she comes back and she forget her and Kronk reconciling, and that's pretty much the end of the movie. The animation is pretty good. It's not exactly on par with the original, but it's one out of the Disney sequels. It's one of the animation's one of the better ones. Most of the time, the animation just doesn't look even halfway as good. But this one, the animation was pretty decent. The voice cast was good. Most of them were returning people from the first movie. Pretty much all of the big ones returned. Patrick Warburton is the voice of Kronk, and as I said before, David Spade and John Goodman returned, but their roles are a lot smaller. They were the main characters in the first one. Eartha Kitt returns to voice Yzma, and she's not in this one very as much either. She's only in there for a few minutes, and she has a show-stopping song that really was pointless and kind of just, it didn't really even need to be there. It was kind of dumb. Wendy Malick returns as Pacha's wife, Chica, and Joel Mahoney, who recently passed away, and he played Fraser's dad, does the voice of Poppy, who's Kronk's father, and Tracy Ullman does the voice of Miss Birdwell, Kronk's love interest. I think they're the main two new members. But voice cast worked pretty well, and the animation was good. The story, however, was really kind of weak. The first half of the movie was like really boring. The second half, when we get to the Wilderness Explorers, it was kind of good. It had some funny moments and everything, but it isn't really one of the best sequels. Most of those direct-to-video or DVD Disney sequels are either hit or miss. Sometimes they were really good, sometimes they weren't, and this one was one of the ones that wasn't really good. I think part of it is the first one was a lot to live up to, and Kronk was great in the first one because he was a smaller role, kind of like Mater in Cars 2. But too much Kronk goes a long way. The movie's directed by L.A.M. Bauer and Saul Andrew Blinkoff. Both of them have been animators and cleanup artists on previous Disney movies. Um, the movie is written by uh, Tony Leondis, who directed Lilo and Stitch 2 and Igor, and he wrote and uh, directed the Mochi movie, which is possibly the worst animated movie ever made, and definitely one of the worst movies ever made. So it's really not that surprising that, since he's one of the writers, that this movie wasn't as good as it could have been. Um, like I said, I liked the little bit of the second half. It had a lot of pop culture references to Saturday Night Fever, Pulp Fiction, Titanic, and there was even a little Tarzan / George of the Jungle reference, and those were okay for a few little laughs. But at the end of the movie, all the characters are dancing, and they are doing the Thriller dance, except they're not dancing to Thriller. It was kind of weird, but they weren't. The pop culture references were probably about the funniest thing about the movie, and there was like a whole bunch of sexual innuendos. How this movie got a G rating, I have no idea. There's like a bunch of innuendos that I was really surprised on. I mean, the first one had a couple of little ones, but this one didn't really hold back a lot on them. It was a decent movie, or it was an okay movie. I wouldn't really say it was decent. It was alright. It wasn't anything special. I'll probably forget it. The main reason I even was interested in it is because I'd heard everybody was coming back, and I was hoping that it would be a lot better than it was. But I'd give this one 4 out of 4 stars, because 4 out of 10. I'm sorry, not 4 stars. 4 out of 10. Because the animation wasn't real bad, and the voice acting worked, and some of the little pop culture references were kind of funny. But besides that, there's not really much else I could say about it. I wouldn't really recommend it to anybody, especially if they're a big fan of the first one. It'd be good for like little kids, but that'd be really all I would recommend it to. But anyway, that's my review for Kronk's New Groove. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review, and if there's any more movies you would like me to review, let me know in the comments, and I will get to them as quick as I can. Feel free to like and subscribe, and have a good day.